I'm an RV tech, and I go undercover at dealerships to review RVs for quality and tell you what's a lemon and what's not. Today I'll be reviewing a 2024 Alliance Paradigm fifth wheel. This is their 382RK floor plan. I'm also going to be talking about an optional suspension upgrade that is not on this fifth wheel, but I've seen on others of this model. And I found a really stupid defect in the cabinets that you'll maybe laugh at. For the water heater, they chose to use a standard tank type water heater from Suburban. I prefer a tank type water heater if you're going to be boondocking. It allows you to conserve water in a way that a typical tankless water heater does not. One downside of this Suburban brand tank type water heater is that it needs an anode rod to prevent it from rusting out. If you're camping seasonally, you're going to pull this out to winterize it anyway, and you'll see if it needs to be replaced. If you are full timing and you don't change this anode rod out, then you can rust your tank out and be replacing your whole water heater. It's important to check that every 6 months if you're full timing. I give this 10 out of 10 points. Next, let's look at the refrigerator choice. This has a very large Furrion 12-volt refrigerator. I don't think real highly of 12-volt refrigerators. And another consideration is that if you're driving long distances, they will sap your battery bank. Because of the reliability issues with 12-volt refrigerators, I only give these 6 out of 10 points. If you want to know more about what's going to be a good appliance for you in your camping style, go check out my free quiz on my website. The Alliance Paradigm has a membrane type roof. I've recently decided to downgrade all membrane type roofs to 8 out of 10 points in my grading system, because the truth is, if you're parking near a tree at a campground, tree branches can poke a hole in many membrane type roofs. Additionally, if there is a defect in how they glued down the membrane and there's a bubble, driving down the highway actually makes that bubble get bigger and can result in the whole roof ripping off. I have been called out in emergency calls at 9 p.m. where the front of a fifth wheel roof was just ripping off. You don't want this happening on your new RV, which is why it's very important to have it inspected. If you want to find an RV inspector I trust, you can go to rigorrvinspection.com. Next, let's look at the air conditioners they chose. They have Coleman Mach air conditioners. As a technician, I've had to replace many Coleman Mach air conditioners that just lost their refrigerant prematurely. An air conditioner can still be blowing some cold air, but not performing as well as it should, meaning it's low on refrigerant. If you're in that window before your appliance warranties are up, this is a great opportunity to hire an inspector again to check these major items to see if they're all performing correctly, so that you can get a free air conditioner replacement if it's going bad. Compared to other brands on the market, Coleman Mach air conditioners seems to be a higher failure rate, which is why I give it 7 out of 10 points. If you want to be able to tell what AC brands are quality and which ones are junk, you should check out my RV shopping course. My RV shopping course covers the quality of all the major components and includes a mobile web app you can use to grade RVs, just like I'm doing in today's review. This also includes a database of over 600 RVs that either I or my undercover shoppers have graded. And for cabinets, folks, I was dying laughing whenever I looked at the cabinets in this RV. Quality-wise, it's a pretty typical wooden doors, but the face frames are a vinyl-wrapped lumber core material which has MDF stuck in it. MDF, when it gets wet, will swell up and split the vinyl wrap. I give 8 out of 10 points. But the funny thing is that when I pull this drawer out next to the kitchen sink, it hits the handles of the doors under the sink. I'm trying to imagine the scenario where the cabinet installer put all this together and was like, this is going to be great. No one's going to complain about this. It's a stupid design flaw. The countertops, I was actually really pleased to see that they finally decided to put solid surface countertops not only in the kitchen, but all through the bathroom. This is a much better countertop material, and I give this 10 out of 10 points. For Slideouts in this RV, these are hydraulically actuated, not electric through frame slide out. The Lippert hydraulic cylinders tend to go bad or just leak oil. If the seal fails internally, hydraulic slides can start to creep out. If it starts to leak oil, this can make a mess in the underbelly. The bedroom slide out is the BAL Exact slide. While this cable system will still need adjustment from time to time, it's not in danger of damaging your RV or bending the wall framing the way BAL AccuSlide can. This actually operates similar to a Schwintek in that it has 2 motors inside the wall instead of one big clunky gearbox over top that can leak oil on your roof. And it doesn't have the corner pulleys that so often get ripped off the wall if the cables are out of adjustment. Overall, the slide systems on this RV I would give 8 out of 10 points. On the frame and suspension, we've got a standard Lippert frame. I do like that between the I-beam and the axles, there's an extra square tube added in, they call a crush tube, and this actually helps stabilize the frame. What I can't see is if it's stabilized from left to right from one crush tube to the other, the way KZ does on their frames. This has a standard leaf spring suspension with really heavy-duty leafs in it, which is good. I give the frame and suspension on this RV 10 out of 10 points. The interesting thing is that I was doing a consulting job with one of my clients, and they were ordering this exact RV, but with an upgraded CURT independent suspension. Independent is a generous term for it. It's not really independent wheel suspension. It's a coil spring suspension. I'm actually really skeptical that it's going to be better than the leaf spring, and here's why. All of the left to right movement of the axle tubes is going to be concentrated on one pivot point instead of spread out over 2 pivot points. I think the chance of frame damage on this upgraded CURT coil spring suspension is actually higher than a standard leaf spring suspension. If you have this upgraded coil spring TCS suspension, be sure and inspect the points where the suspension mounts to the frame for fractures to make sure that you catch any issues early. If you have experience with this, let me know how it's going. If you're looking at an RV that has something unique like this TCS suspension, you can always schedule a consulting call with me if you want to get my opinion about that. Now let's talk about the plumbing on this RV. And this is where so many RV manufacturers I get crossways with because they put a type of plumbing in that tends to cause leaks. Alliance did this when they first started out, but they received complaints and they actually changed this back in 2021. I had an Alliance Paradigm come into the shop for warranty work. It was a early 2021 model, and it had water pouring out into the cargo bay. They had just randomly transitioned from PEX to flexible tubing inside the wall. I had to cut into the wall to get to the leaking fitting. I am so glad that Alliance moved away from this bad plumbing in response to people's complaints, mostly. I still don't know why they started putting a little bit of this bad plumbing back into their Alliance Delta travel trailers. So honestly, folks, while I think that most Alliance fifth wheels are still being plumbed correctly, keep an eye out. This RV, however, was plumbed correctly, 10 out of 10 points. Fit and finish wise, this RV was pretty clean and tight. I have to give it 9 out of 10 points though because of the really stupid cabinet drawer hitting the cabinet door handle issue. In one of my first reviews about an Alliance Paradigm, I commented on how the drawer boxes had wood splinters all over the edges of the plywood. And Alliance has actually come up with a solution to this problem. Now they put a vinyl wrap up and over the edge so that the top is nice and smooth and doesn't have splinters. But keep in mind that vinyl wrap that they put over the plywood will still wear out over time and get little holes in it and look a little unsightly. It's not as good as actual solid wood or plywood that's properly finished. Total score for this RV. Honestly, thought it was going to do better. It has good plumbing and it has good slide outs, so I think that this is overall an RV worth buying. Just keep in mind there are better component selections that can be found. Click here if you want to watch me go undercover to review more fifth wheel RVs, or click here if you want to learn more dirty secrets about the RV industry, including my recent video, which is Dirty Secrets of RV Inspections.